actually are aware of this subject.
Cheers, mate. Oh, no worries.
So,
Right, guys, just a quickie. We've got Robin here again and Mark Sargent down here. About to start.
So let's move on to our next speaker. Growing up on South Whidbey Island, Washington, Mark Sargent started his career playing computer games professionally in Boulder, Colorado. From there, he spent his next 20 years training people in proprietary software. In 2014, he looked into what is no doubt the strangest conspiracy ever called Flat Earth Theory, and through extensive research discovered that it wasn't so laughable after all. In 2015, he released a series of YouTube videos entitled Flat Earth Clues, which delves into the possibility of our human civilization actually being inside a Truman Show, like enclosed system, and how it's been hidden from the public since 1956. With his own Strange World show on Truth Frequency Radio, which includes over 30 expert testimony interviews from pilot, missile instructors, air traffic controllers, artillery guys, vacuum and seals experts, and all sorts of military professionals. We recommend you look into Mark's channel. With controversial yet massively known Netflix hit piece documentary, which has now been publicised worldwide and pretty much everyone has heard of it, it's now become a legitimate conversation. And now an activist on the Globe Light Tour, with 3 cities under his belt, Belfast, Dublin and Cardiff, will you please put your hands together and make a massive noise for the one and only Mark Sargent.
This is your brain. This is your brain on Flat Earth. Any questions?
He's an interesting guy, man, and he believes it. So, Kyrie, the Earth is flat, right? Yeah. So, whatever. That's news. That's news. Here we go.
Everybody's for the Cavaliers. He recently said that he believes the world is flat. Is that the subject that you covered with him? Are you aware of that?
I wouldn't even know how to approach that topic.
Hey, AJ, do you want to talk about how you think the Earth is flat? I do not think the world is flat. I'm just saying there's some stuff about it.
How do people actually believe the Earth is flat? I'm stumped, Kelly. I don't know how people believe it.
Round Earth or flat Earth? Yeah. Round Earth. You just grew up the line between them.
Okay. Actually, no. Shaq goes the other way. Not debatable. It's flat. Kyrie, flat. Draymond, flat. What is going on in the world?
So where are we right now? You think you're in a globe spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That globe is spinning around the sun at 60,000 plus miles an hour. That solar system is flying sideways through the galaxy at 500,000 miles an hour. And that galaxy is going through the rest of the universe at millions of miles an hour. And you feel nothing. In reality, you are actually in a giant planetarium / terrarium / soundstage / Hollywood backlot that is so big that you and everyone you know and everyone you've ever known never figured it out.
Hi. All right, so I'm going to do a quick presentation for about 25 minutes, and then to open it up for any questions. The remainder of my time, and then we'll break for lunch, and everything should be great. So let's get right to it. This is Kanye West. Sorry, my voice. And thanks, by the way, for everybody who bought me drinks last night. My voice is a little croaky because of it. Awesome. Kanye is quoted as saying that his only regret is not being able to see himself perform live on stage. I used to think that was the most arrogant thing I had ever heard until I saw this guy. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson, the world's most popular scientist. His quote is as follows: "Science is true whether or not you believe in it." A lot of scientists feel this way. If they put their stamp on it, then it is an absolute fact. Here is one of their absolute facts. The coelacanth fossil record. Mainstream science said without a doubt this unattractive fish and all others like it went extinct 70 million years ago. Every scientist in the fields relating to this fish was convinced that this was true and would have stayed their careers on it if asked. All the scientists in question were absolutely 100% put in the certificate you can frame wrong. Why? This coelacanth was caught off the coast of South Africa in 1938, and it wasn't a fluke. Since then, they have been found in Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, Madagascar, just to name a few. I can assure you, without a doubt, this fish here is not been dead for 70 million years. How did science screw up that badly? They saw the fossil record and stopped looking for the truth. Sorry, my voice. Science is only true until the day that it isn't. Why is this so important? Thank you. You know who this is. Meet Brian Cox. Brian Cox is an astrophysicist out of the UK. He is the second most popular scientist in the world next to Neil Tyson. And he hates flat Earth. Brian Cox hates it so much that he is in complete denial of it. He won't even acknowledge it exists. He states that it's not a thing now, that everyone here and at other conferences don't really believe in it, and that flat Earth was never a thing. It's just a myth or a legend, and that no culture anywhere ever believed in it. Brian thinks this is an absolute fact. I find that interesting, because there were a great many cultures that first looked at the world the same way, and they all drew the same images. You won't be able to see it really well here on the screen, but let's rattle off a few of them, shall we? Greek, Navajo, Babylonian, Mesa, Japanese, Persian, Viking, Indian, Mayan, Incan, Hebrew, Australian, Chumash, Slavic, African, Sumerians, Mesopotamia, Norse, Hindu, Masonic. Little tip: when a secret society draws the world a certain way, you might want to pay attention. Islamic, Roman, Egyptian, Aztec, Arabic, all of these large groups saw the world like this. The one I enjoyed more than most, which is not up here, was made about 500 years ago in the Netherlands by a man named Hieronymus Bosch. It is called the Garden of Earthly Delights, and it opens to show a paradise inside. Interesting trivia about this piece: the replica of it hung over the childhood crib of Leonardo DiCaprio. This will come up later. So it's 2019. I'm in a room full of people, and flat Earth is now a thing. If I would have said those words to you even 5 years ago, it would have been considered the most extreme fringe science fiction. But today, the term and ideas are almost commonplace. So how did we get to this point? How did flat Earth make it this far? How did we get here? It is one of the most unlikely tales you'll ever hear, with plot twists that would make Hollywood writer blush. But as I'm fond of saying, the truth is often stranger than fiction. None of what I'm about to tell you is secret information. Anyone can look this up. of what happens, but if you don't, I can assure you, every word about what I'm about to say is true. So by me, open up your cell phones and verify this for yourself. On February 10th, 2015, I created the first of what ended up being the Flat Earth Cruise series. And as some of you know, did not think it would gain traction. I put my name and phone number out in the first video because apparently I enjoy abuse. I practically begged people to call me up and prove me wrong so I could get back to my sleepy little life in Boulder, Colorado. Almost immediately, I was set upon by people who wanted to know more. The emails started pouring in, and the phone calls came at all hours of the night. By the way, the phone number is still works, even now. Sorry, I was not best to say. Podcasts wanted to do interviews, students wanted details, and so did a lot of people making videos on YouTube. Rob Skiba called and wanted to debate me. During the show, you could feel his mind racing with new possibilities. After the second show, True Frequency Radio contacted me and asked if I would like to do a program on my own to talk about Flat Earth and spread the word. And 2015 continued like that. The true grassroots year for Flat Earth. More channels dedicated to destroying the globe model appeared, and the entire conspiracy world took notice because it was and still is the most hated and the most polarizing fringe topic there is. Professionals from different walks of life began to come forward. From the American military, we had a Navy missile instructor, an Air Force navigator, a Marine Corps sniper instructor, a Navy submarine chief, an Army artillery radar operator, an Army master gunner, an Army air traffic controller, a Navy navigator, and a Navy electronic warfare technician. From the air, we had an American flight instructor, an air traffic controller, commercial airline captains, commercial airline co-pilots, and from the ground, we had industrial engineers, corporate travel agents, large project surveyors, and many others. As 2015 drew to a close, the topic had started to expand its different facets, discovering new ideas almost weekly, and enthusiasm was high, even though mainstream news viewed it as just another interesting flash in the pan. They couldn't have been more wrong. At the beginning of 2016, a Grammy-nominated rap artist named Bobby Ray Simmons, known professionally as B.O.B., released a new single called Flatline. The song was unusual for two reasons. The first was that it included a long audio clip from astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson as he described the Earth as being pear-shaped. The second was that it implied that the scientist was taking government money to hide the fact that the world was indeed flat. This was when the mainstream media first took notice, mostly because it was new news. This is something they had never seen. And even before the media could fully digest the concept, the scientist in question did the unthinkable. He fired back. For reasons that continue to elude us, the leading face of mainstream science decided to make an appearance on Comedy Central and then do a monologue against rapper B.O.B. on why the Earth isn't flat. He used no animations, no graphics, and made a point to use profanity at the end while symbolically dropping the mic on the topic. With the help of his nephew, Neil Tyson even made a response rap song. The effect it had was well flammable. It was, without a doubt, the most interesting story to start off the year and helped fuel the emerging flat earth topic in social media. Between the two people involved, one in the music industry and the other in science, there is no way the average media editor could ignore it. The mainstream exposed ordinary people that had never looked at a single conspiracy to the simple words that now echo everywhere: flat earth. In troves, the general population searched for the reason why this was a headline and were pulled into the rabbit hole from which few can escape. And if you think that's the strangest thing to start off Flat Earth in 2016, you would be sorely mistaken. Leonardo DiCaprio visited the Vatican, and guess what he brought up on camera? Flat Earth. Being an A-list celebrity only buys you 15 minutes with the Pope. Did he talk about climate change? A little bit. Did he bring the Pope an art book showing the world as an enclosed structure and how it represented the promise of the future? Yes, he did. And if you look closely, you might not be able to see it Right there on that page is the Hieronymus Bosch slide. After Leonardo left, the Pope left the Vatican and flew to Cuba to meet with the Orthodox Pope. The first time the two had met in 1,000 years. We don't know what they talked about, but after they left, the Orthodox Pope went straight to Antarctica, one of the hot buttons of the flat Earth community. Who else went to Antarctica in 2016? United States Secretary of State John Kerry, for one, and even though it might not sound strange to you, it did to me because he was there on election night, when he should have been back in the States, backing his candidate, who was Hillary Clinton. Buzz Aldrin, the astronaut, was also there in 2016 and had to be emergency airlifted for health reasons. We can only speculate on why all these high-profile people went to Antarctica, and it is still to this day raises many questions. The very first Flat Earth Video Awards show was also in February of 2016. Yes, there were already so many Flat Earth videos that we were starting to give out awards. By April, Flat Earth regional meetups were appearing, first in Houston, then Seattle, and then after that in just about every state you can imagine. Hey, there's Dave Murphy. Is he here? There you go, man. And this wasn't just happening in the United States. Across the pond, Dave Murphy from the UK had already made the first Flat Earth appearance on Macedonian television. Nice, thanks, man. I was supposed to get that date. It's awesome. By August of 2016, I started keeping track of the numbers and the sheer volume of videos that the topic was helping create in social media. We weren't just an anomaly. We were a bona fide trend and gaining speed every month. As 2016 drew to a close, we were a cool club that had gotten some solid attention, but the future was uncertain, sometimes even precarious. Not for long. Within a month, all of that would change. In 2017, like a sign from the heavens, someone had carved into a hillside in Los Angeles, Google Flat Earth. Even now, this person responsible has never come forward. I'd like to thank him. That very night, basketball all-star Kyrie Irving announced during a podcast that he believed in Flat Earth, and the day after that, LeBron James, the most popular face in American basketball, supported him. I cannot overstate the shockwaves that Flat Earth was creating in the sports world. Every sports periodical in the world covered this story immediately. Then the general media dived in. Over the next few months, it was the water cooler topic. The crossover media was surreal. This is a Rolling Stone article about Jimmy Kimmel and Dave Chappelle on late night television discussing Kyrie Irving and Flat Earth. The word was now spreading quickly across multiple levels of media. To add to the fire, NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal supported Kyrie as well during a live broadcast, but only stood by it for 10 days. Turns out some of the sponsors weren't thrilled with the idea, so a hasty late-night talk show retraction was put into place. The UK program Big Brother kicked off a member for harassing someone who believed in Flat Earth. The Canadian comedy team, Trailer Park Boys, did a full spin on the topic, and the year was only half over. Yeah. Sorry. It's going to be a meetup slide. No idea. Regional meetups were increasing every month. Denver, Boston, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Florida, Hawaii, Canada, London. Our first formal debate was in Atlanta. This particular one is up in Seattle. It's Patricia and Dean Marvel in the center because they like being in the center and off in the corner there in the flat side. And as 2017 entered its final months, there stood the crowning achievement, the first Flat Earth conference in 500 years. It might as well have been forever. An ancient truth made viewed new again simply by brave people believing in it. International media flew in for the unique event and were amazed by the conviction, the passion, and the sincerity of all the people involved. The largest YouTube channels in the world are now wading into the flat Earth pool. This is one of the top two in the world. This is PewDiePie, that is Patricia Spear, and what appears to be Shrek. I hate that slide so much. Late night talk shows, we're talking about it monthly. Who the hell was Freddie Flintoff? I didn't know. But apparently he was talking about flat Earth over in London. I'm sure you guys don't know who Freddie is. Not a lot of help in that. HBO, Vice, ABC, BuzzFeed, German television, Russian television, British television, Hustler magazine, university classes, radio stations. The last day of 2017, rapper B.O.B. was preaching flat Earth to Bill Nye the Science Guy. That same week, Kyrie Irving was using flat Earth in his shoe commercials, and still mainstream science thought we would just go away. So what did we do in 2018? We changed gears. Some is good and more is better. More meetups, not just every month, but almost every week. I even built a special playlist on my YouTube channel, and there are now hundreds of regional meetups in it. This is one from San Francisco. This is South Korea. See Marvel down at the center there? I didn't get to go that one either. You would think at this point that nothing could surprise the media when it came to flat Earth. They had already seen a rap battle between a Grammy nominee and the world's most famous scientist. Then they watched the sports world publicly debate the shape of the world. What other rabbits did flat Earth have in its hat? Well, just for one, Mad Mike Hughes. California stuntman put a giant flat Earth sticker on the side of a homemade rocket and literally launched the topic to a new level. Did it prove flat Earth? Not at all. Was it covered again and again in social media as the launch was delayed twice? Yes, it was. In 2018, there wasn't just one flat Earth conference, there were three. One in the US, one in Canada, and one in the UK. All different, all fantastic. We now had dedicated venues where we could share our ideas and experiences. Just before the first Canadian conference, the first mainstream documentary on the topic defied all expectations and competed in 22 film festivals in 7 countries. So many showings that the producers could not even begin to attend them all. Before the year was out, it would be purchased by Amazon, YouTube, iTunes, and Netflix. And during all this, the numbers, the precious stats that I love, reached for the impossible. In June of 2018, Flat Earth, which started at a modest 50,000 search results, had hit 20.9 million. The cherry on top being that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, was sitting at 20.8 million. And somewhere along the line, the powers that be decided that we were getting a little too excited. The U.gov survey said it all. Americans were now starting to lean towards flat Earth too quickly for their taste. Indeed, a full third of young Americans didn't believe in the globe anymore. YouTube took matters into their own hands and tore down their own scoreboard so that we would stop pointing at it. Google went before the United States government and said that they were doing what they could to deal with the flat Earth problem that kept spreading, but secretly still loved us because we kept people watching YouTube, now the largest television network in the world. National Geographic tracked some of us down and condemned the flat Earth movement as being a danger to medicine, a threat to technology, and had the potential of sending science back to the Dark Ages. I thought they were being a tad dramatic, but they did have a point. You see, we weren't going away. And they knew it. Behind the scenes, they had told me that it concerned them, that science wasn't meeting us on the battlefield. They were hoping that they could rally some of them to engage us. It didn't work. Science did everything they could to avoid the topic, to pretend that it wasn't there, and that people weren't listening. Shane Dawson, one of the largest channels on YouTube, made a single flat Earth video in 2018. It now has 28 million hits. Shane's demographic is under 20. What is science going to do to stop that? Nothing, because it's not a real topic, remember? It's nothing when Jaron and Globusters and Karen B and FE Core convince people with long-distance laser tests, when Rob Skiba does weather balloon tests, when Jay Tolan Media does daytime infrared photography. Don't worry about it as we look at boats that refuse to go to the horizon, as we turn heads with street activism. There's a group called Globe Live that already finished a town-to-town tour in the UK, and in 2018 are going to extend it to Europe. Sorry, 2019. We're just getting started. 2019 is the year of flat earth conventions. This year alone, we have events in Los Angeles, New Zealand, Calgary, Stockholm, UK, Amsterdam, South Carolina, and Dallas, Texas. Every month I hear the globalists say that flat earth is fading away. This is the cover of Newsweek from June this year. The earth is round, but the flat earth movement is growing. Interesting graphic. They're actually using something to pump up the globe, while the flat earth model sits just fine there on the floor. And this is the cover of Popular Science today, right now, in the newsstands. This is my message to science. What is flat earth? You better figure it out quick, because we're bringing the fight to you. We become one of the most trendy topics in the world with almost no resources, and we did it in 4 years. We can break down your space videos, your images, and you better believe we're going after your theories, because that's what most of them are, just theories. It's 2019, and now we have an army. Channel after channel, rising to 6 figures in YouTube. Jaronism and Rob Skiba, Celebrate Truth, Controversy 7, Red Pill Philosophy, ODD Reality. Just to name a few. In the 5-figure channels, I've literally lost count. Channels dedicated against NASA, channels dedicated to experiments, channels dedicated to debates against globalists, channels dedicated to activism. So many different facets, it feels more like a school than an invasion force. But doesn't that make sense? Because every great army has an academy behind it. And we created one from the sheer volume of our online content. Make no mistake, Flat Earth University is very different from other universities based on scientism. They will tell you that we are on a tiny rock flying through an impossible universe and that your life means virtually nothing. We will gently remind you that this incredible world and everything in it was built just for you, because you are special, valuable, and unique. They will tell you that science is true, whether or not you believe in it, to never question the status quo and never revisit old theories. We encourage people to not take our word for it, but instead do their own research and question everything. They will tell you to abandon your religion, your faith, because it has no place among scientism. Flat Earth University makes no religious demands. Whatever your faith is, keep it. Because the very nature of Flat Earth implies that it was built, which means by default that there is a creator. And the great thing about Flat Earth University is that you can take courses from anywhere, anytime, at your own pace, no matter what your occupation or lifestyle is. There are no exams, and we have thousands of instructors all learning from each other every day. We don't just inform people of new observations, we open minds. And when they are open, that enthusiasm becomes infectious. Flat Earth isn't a theory, it is part of the Great Awakening, one that will eventually define our civilization and our legacy. In closing, I'd like to remind people of my mission statement. My name is Mark Sargent, and I'm a proud Flat Earther. It is my addiction, my unhealthy obsession, and next to my dear mother, it is my favorite thing in life. It is everywhere, just waiting for you to discover it. The people involved are kind, sincere, and most importantly, open-minded. I'm hoping that you will find what I have: knowledge, truth, and love for each other. The way this world was always supposed to be. The globe is dead. Long live Flat Earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That was fantastic. Any questions for Mark? Any hands up? Questions for Mark?
Oh, and by the way, I have an icebreaker for you guys to think of the questions. Here. That's my icebreaker shot right there, which is, think of your questions for a second. I like throwing this out there. This is a random shot I picked from Apollo 12. If Paul's still in the room, he'd probably appreciate it. What I like to throw out at people is whether you're a flat earther or a globalist, which is, please feel free to shout out how many things, just pick up some things. I can see at least 6 things wrong in this photograph. Anybody?
Yeah.
Shadows? Who said shadows?
Shadows, hot spot, no crater on the bust,
No stars.
Yep.
no, nothing on the pads.
Yeah, all flat earthers as they get into this figure out really, really quickly. And of course, when I asked the globalist, I said, look, I can find at least 6 things wrong with this photograph. How many things can you find? Well, it's a trick question because there shouldn't be anything wrong with this photograph. The whole thing's wrong. And if this is wrong, a lot of other stuff is too.
Inconsistent shadows is one.
Oh yeah. The biggest one in the shot is, of course, the shadows, which is they should be going in one direction, and you actually see at least 4 directions. One from the flag, one from the satellite dish, one from the astronaut, the module, and of course the guy that's taking the shot. One of my favorites, by the way, you guys probably don't know this, some of you probably don't, which is that VHF transmitter, that little satellite dish in the center there. We looked at all the engineering specs on that thing, and it has a maximum range of about 50 miles, especially with 1969 battery technology. And you should be able to maybe be Morse code on a good day 50 miles, and that thing was doing 10 frames a second of color video, plus 2-way communication, over 250,000 miles through the Van radiation belt.
Cinderella story.
There's also no stars and no horizon.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's now, just at a glance, just so you know, it is a gorgeous image. This is perfect, it's perfectly framed, and the color palette is really, really nice. Of course, also illogical because everybody knows that the cameras they use had no viewfinder, which means you're actually shooting a shot, you have no idea what you're looking at in the camera. It's like, throwing darts from the hip.
Well, actually, as well, the camera was mounted on their chest.
Yeah.
And look at, again, remember that.
I know, and he looks like.
The horizon rises to eye level.
Yeah.
Where the horizon is.
Yeah, absolutely.
No craters underneath the rim model.
Yep, no blast crater. One of my favorites, there's an American artist named Norman Rockwell, and they asked him to do like an artist rendition of what he thought the capsule would look like when it landed. And it's beautiful, it's got this wonderful display pattern underneath it. And this is the exact opposite. And one other thing people don't understand is like, okay, so this thing landed on what apparently is like 3 or 4 inches of ash, right? Because it's uniform ash everywhere. But you never saw anyone with a shovel digging. It's like, how far does that ash go? Is it only 3 or 4 inches? What's the rock underneath? So, anyway.
Oh, God,
yes.
the guy is bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah.
Bottom right-hand corner, is that meant to be the photographer?
Yes.
Now, if you look at the angle, it's going towards the horizon, but if you look at the angle of the lander, it's at a different angle, which can't be. It would be parallel lines.
Yeah.
That alone is just enough to just blow that water.
I agree. I've actually had people, and I know denial is a really, really strong thing, but I've had people say that, they've looked at photos and they'll cave in and they'll say, because the Americans, I don't know what it's like outside of the United States, but we're almost required to believe in the Apollo missions. It's not a law, but like there was a commentator on Fox News just last year. She said, I believe in Apollo because I'm a patriot. It's like, ooh, it's rough. But there's a lot of people who say, okay, Apollo was trash, utter rubbish. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But that doesn't mean that the ISS is.
Well, interestingly, we were on the streets of Bristol, and there was a gentleman from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
He had a big Facebook following, 60,000 followers.
Yeah.
And he was live streaming, and him plus an Ethiopian, Eritrean, and a Somalian that day said, "We teach flat Earth at school." So he was showing the curiosity of the Westerners that had finally woken up.
Yeah.
They must look at this and go, "How can we buy this thing?"
And I only touched on it a little bit in my presentation, but the U.gov, you guys have heard of U.gov, it's a UK thing, right? It's a scientific research group in the UK, and they use census for just about anything. And when they polled the Americans, we didn't ask them to, they just did it on their own, it was trending. the number again that jumped out at me was 18 to 24-year-olds in the United States, 34% of them don't believe in the globe anymore. And that really freaked a lot of people out to where science, we're writing journals saying, well, obviously a flawed study and it couldn't be right, but National Geographic was really worried about it because
they're not as investable brainwashed, are they?
Exactly.
Yes, sorry, I've got two questions.
Yeah, just a comment really.
Yeah.
One thing I'm noticing is that NASA is being responsive to us as well.
Yes.
Because I noted there was the famous picture of Buzz Aldrin coming down the ladder, with his leg out, yeah? In that picture, it was kind of a wide picture like this one. There was the Earth in the background.
Yeah.
Okay, just over the horizon. Okay. Well, the Apollo landing site was just like about 15 degrees off center of the moon.
Yeah.
Well, that face of the moon is always pointing towards Earth. So the Earth can never be on the horizon.
Yeah.
So I put that out. And then when you go back to the NASA library, you find that picture now cropped off. Yeah. So they're responding to what we're
Yes, people think we're delusional when we say that. We say, look, the powers that be are actually making moves. It's the first time I've ever seen it. Look, there's all sorts of conspiracies, but it's, for the first time ever, we're seeing pieces in the chessboard move in real time, for what the stuff we're doing. It's not delusional. It's like, look, we're seeing it. There's somebody did that little presentation. It wasn't a joke. The United States government was talking to the head of Google, one of the biggest corporations in the world, saying, what are you going to do to address this problem? And of all the topics she brought up, she brought up flat Earth. Yes?
Yeah, I was just thinking what you were saying about the younger people.
Yeah.
I live in the Midlands of England, and there's a small town close to me, and Martin and myself, bumped into 3 young kids one day. They're about 19. Anyway, it's a long story. They left college 3 years ago to go to a small mining town in Nottingham College, and they were taught the Earth was flat.
Nice. That's awesome.
They said, yeah, we got a teacher there, he taught us the Earth was flat, so we thought we were going to say,
I've got a lot of questions from.
So there's hope for us all.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And those that connected with Anthony Riley yesterday, can we get in touch about that university? Because they've done it, there's a precedent.
It's Sutton, where they've got the largest sundial in Europe in Sutton. I don't know if everybody's seen this on Martin's channel. It's the largest sundial in Europe in a tiny little mining town in the middle of England. And it's just crazy. People don't even know what it is. It's a ship's hull that's put on massive black metal beams. Wow. And it's a huge sundial, and the whole of the town has walked through. I mean, it's all falling to pieces now. Everybody's getting grants. Suddenly they want to just get rid of it all, since we've kind of focused on this. But there's like planetary systems all through the brickwork. It's crazy. So they're going to get rid of it all soon. So just have a look at Sutton and have a look at Sutton in Ashfield. Not
Anthony Riley will be in touch.
I get a lot of questions from, well, at least in the United States.
Where the sun goes, the arrow points, and that's it. Yeah, there you go.
So Roxanne, we need to make sure that happens, so we can get in touch with Anthony about that. Thank you. Anybody else?
Questions? You can ask Anthony.
Here we go.
I don't have an opinion on Brexit, by the way. Literally no.
Hi, I've got to the point where I like to sort of question everything. I question everything I see in that photograph you just showed. You're telling us that's an official NASA photograph.
Oh yeah. It's, in fact, you can see the time date stamp here at the bottom.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is it official? Would NASA actually do something as silly as this? Could it be
yes.
Look at the other side of the story. We all picking holes in that picture.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, think about this though. In 1969, we were alone one night, the internet was still a long way off. And so in 1969, you could absolutely get away with it. Sure, you just published this in Life magazine and Time magazine, because that's all you had. It was magazines. They don't show these images on television. In fact, for years, there were some people in the United States that didn't believe it. They were trying to break it down since like the 1970s. But like, let's say, even up into the mid-1990s, let's say you were tearing apart this photo. A lot of people have. A lot of the work we're doing is really just rehashing people that have been tearing apart for years. What do you do in 1988? You can't get it around to everybody. So yes, the short answer to the question is wouldn't ask to do this, sure, because they could get away with it at the time. I mean, look at all the other photos, like the Challenger astronauts. That was a brilliant one. I don't have that photo, if you guys have seen it, where they all twins and everything. What caught me, though, was they were actually posing with motorcycle helmets, not space helmets. And I thought, oh, okay, we're doing that because, for props, it's like you're just taking a photo with some cheap helmets. And then I watched some of the 80s shuttle footage, and no, they were actually using these helmets. These almost got pressurized. You could actually see their bare necks. And like they were wearing short sleeve shirts. And I was going, why do you have helmets at all? I mean, why not just get a bike helmet if you're going to do that? Just a straight up helmet.
What about Neil Armstrong's boot prints?
No, I wouldn't spend as much time on the boot print thing. I didn't put much stock in it. I mean, there's so many other fun things you can rip on NASA for. I mean, it's a hobby for us. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'd just like to say that when I became a flat earther, one of the things that really drew me towards it was understanding the moon landings. But the more I looked into the moon landings, the one thing that really struck me was they haven't actually proven they've been to the moon. You see the video, you see them on the moon, but they didn't actually provide us with any evidence that they were actually where they said they were, which was really interesting when you looked at it properly. So you were distracted a lot by things like, flag and, the sort of jumping around.
Right.
There was nothing that actually told us this is actually where we are. So there was no shot of the earth, there was no panoramic shot of the heavens, and just walking around behaviour. But the actual evidence that you were actually where you say you are wasn't provided.
Right. You're absolutely right. 2 points there, real quick. One was, I said in different things that if I showed up at the moon, the very first thing I would do, again, is just take a camera and just start spinning around wildly. And then I would absolutely do. We have still shots of the Earth from the moon, but almost no video that I know. I mean, why wouldn't you just take a camera? And yeah, the resolution is for crap, but you can zoom in the best you can, and hopefully do something. That would be something you do. But as far as that reminds me, you guys can look this up. It's easy to find. The United States was catching so much doubt about the Apollo program. They actually created a completely separate wiki category called, I think it's called Third-Party Confirmation of Apollo, which basically the short version is, well, don't take the Americans' word for it. Listen to these other space agencies that says, oh yeah, the Americans absolutely went. And of course, it was India and China and Europe and Japan. It said, oh yeah, we totally went. By the way, I'm stunned outside the United States why anyone outside the United States would believe it. Because, again, we're required, but it's like, oh yeah, in fact, when I was in Stockholm, for the thing, I asked them, I said, why did you believe the Americans went to the moon? Because you just saw it on television? We're told to basically believe anything that's on the news, on television, is the absolute truth. It's like, okay, it's one thing that's coming from your country, but another country? Come on. Anyway.
Mark, can you bring up the point, is it called the the something safety bureau, which that's...
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. So I had a chance to do a conference call, and again, completely unsolicited. Somebody buzzed me and said, oh yeah, I have a, it was a guy from Germany. He said, I have a friend, most people don't know that when you supposedly set up satellites, a lot of companies make satellites, but there's very few companies that make the rockets, very few. And there's one in California called Interorbital. And so I got a chance to talk to the president of the VP. I was just kind of in the room on the conference call, and the guy from Germany, he wanted me to ask them. And I didn't say anything about flat Earth. I said, wouldn't it, because the rumor was, if you're going to send up a rocket of any kind, you can go through NASA. And I said, don't you have to register your entire flight path and everything through NASA? And it was really quick. They said, no, we don't. Pause. But We do have to register everything with a brand new bureau, well, not brand new, but new enough, called the Atmospheric Transportation Safety Bureau. And you look it up, it's a real thing out there, and I said, really? You go, yeah, before you send any rocket up, you have to give them every single detail of your rocket, including, the speed, the trajectory, all the telemetry, your payload, the frequency of the payload. Basically, they would have literally complete control of this rocket if they wanted to. So then I said, oh, that makes sense, because in every country that has a space program has this same bureau, and they all have to register. And I go, well, that's brilliant. Now, I didn't want to burst the guy's bubble, and we ended the call. But that's what I would do, which is you make sure whatever rocket goes up, basically you have remote control. You have the remote access key to the rocket, so as soon as it gets out of visual range, you can do with it whatever you want. You can dump it, you can launch whatever, but it was brilliant. Hey, you.
How far is the sun away then?
We don't know for sure, to be honest.
What do you suspect?
I go with kind of the fuzzy model, which is, is the dome could be anywhere from, I don't know, started anywhere from 80 kilometers up to 3,000 kilometers up, I don't know. The bigger question is, what is the sun? You've seen guys, who's that guy, the crazy physicist, dude does interviews from his car that says there's no fusion, yeah, it's very tricky, it gives me chills when I listen to that. He says, the sun is basically just a light bulb because it's power from somewhere else. And we don't know anything about the sun at all. Maybe the solar flares have something, but because there's no fusion in that device. So.
What do you understand about orgone?
What do you understand about
orgone? I don't understand that much other than people give me orgone gifts all the time. I get like everything from orgone keychains.
Like the orgone accumulator and so on.
The what?
The orgone accumulator by Wilhelm Reich.
I haven't read it. But I looked at it if you think it's worthwhile. Sure. Yes. Wait, did you have a question? No. She just has a hand. No, you're good. You're good. Anybody else?
Salt and
Anything? If not,
yeah, come on, hang on.
So I'm quite new to all this, and I'm gathering that many people who aren't.
Were you dragged into this, or are you like a globalist right now?
So if I ask something,
watch the doors.
If I ask something really stupid, please don't laugh at me. In brief, where does climate change fit into this? Is that, I don't understand.
What's my opinion on climate change?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, I have kind of a mix. I take a little different approach because there's a new term that's kind of floating out there called auto-posting, which basically there's so many secrets and there's so many stuff that basically nobody believes anything that the news has anymore. I mean, it might be kind of true. I mean, every story in the news, there's got to be something behind it. There's money behind everything. Every time you see a story about what is the climate change thing? Which is every time you see a story that, well, eating 3 ounces of dark chocolate, now reduces cancer. And then eggs are good for you, eggs are bad for you. Too much coffee, too little coffee, aspirin every day, now don't take aspirin. There's corporations behind that all the time. Look, you can buy the news. When it comes to climate change, is there a bigger thing there? Yes. But what I try to say is I look at it from the flat earth side, which is climate change makes more sense to me because it's enclosed. The simplest answer would be, don't greenhouse gases make more sense if it's an actual greenhouse? That sort of thing. That again, if it's enclosed, then whatever we're doing, could it be cyclical? And I know people said, it goes in waves, yeah, maybe. But I know that I'll end with this. I was getting a tan in Seattle, Washington, Halloween of last year. And that wasn't just one day. I mean, it was like the whole week. That never ever happens. It should have been windy and I should have died of exposure.
And as Harry would say, there's 30,000 scientists sign an anti-climate change petition. So, which one's right?
And also interesting, of course, you got to remember that not too many years ago, it was called global warming. And then through a massive media push, they basically erased the term global warming. Now it's climate change. And it's like, okay, so, you're kind of backing off from that. So why did global warming bug people so badly that you literally had to wipe it out off the media?
Because the biggest saying it was cooling rather than warming. And
if I could answer slightly this question.
Sure, go ahead.
When I've been researching truth for like 15 years now, and one of the first ones I found was a guy called Radio Pesci from the Club of Rome, who actually stated, I think back in the 60s or maybe 50s, that we're looking for a new enemy, a new bad guy, right? And the climate fits the bill nicely, and it will be able to make us, it will make people the enemy, yeah? So this group, the Club of Rome, started pushing this idea, and then all of a sudden this guy, what's the guy's name, the presidential, Al Gore.
Oh yeah, inconvenient truth.
Yes,
Yeah.
he popped up from nowhere, but he's part of the Club of Rome. So this was, this was in effect, plans in effect before anybody heard of global warming or climate change. They already were pushing it. Right? So when it came along, anybody was. They talked about it years ago. So yes, it's all fake.
Well, it's in the Illuminati game. It has a card with Al Gore.
Yeah.
So in 1988. So. Yeah, the Illuminati game. What's the name of the game? The Masonic game, the card game.
The card game. Yeah.
The card game. Yeah. So Al Gore is in one of the cards, pushing global warming already. And the same goes for the flat Earth, and that's my problem with all this. I'm a flat earther, don't get me wrong, but. So the question I have for you is about, let me tell you the story. So this little Tunisian girl, she's making a PhD in Tunisia.
Yes.
And she's doing a geology PhD. So it's a nerd-related thing, but to explain all the phenomena that she's observing, she's questioning a lot of stuff in the sky, including the distance of the stars, the distance of the sun, the distance of the moon, the radius of each one of them, etc. She only had the chance of publishing one article, which she states a lot of stuff that are not aligned with the global model, of course, but is also not aligned with the current climate view that we have. Okay, and somehow NASA got involved. This was linked to NASA, and NASA got involved with that. And yeah, they immediately contacted the authorities of Tunisia, and Tunisia contacted the Minister of Education, and she never had the chance of even defending the thesis, and it was written down as rubbish.
Right.
And if you look at the article, the one article she published, that is not rubbish at all. And not only that, the girl has disappeared. So my question to you is, how are we going on Netflix? How are we going in all the main news channels? Because we know all the major corporations are 6 major corporations that pretty much control all the media, as well as 10 major companies control all the food in the world.
Right.
We know about that. Everything is controlled. So how is this
going? No, I know this question.
Media?
I got it. So the question is, how is flat Earth being allowed to move forward? Why is it getting bigger and bigger, even though you know full well you want to shut down something? And I had that concern literally since the very beginning, because just in software alone, if you wanted to stunt flat Earth, in Google and YouTube, remember Google owns YouTube, you could do it in software like that. I mean, you basically just say, don't recommend flat Earth videos to anyone, and don't ever fill in a search bar with, you type in Earth is or is the, just automatically fill it with flat. You're absolutely right. We were being helped, no question. And part of what I do every day is look on the other side of the chessboard and figure out exactly, or not exactly, try to generalize what they may be up to. You're absolutely right. We're being helped. The question is, to what end? They were promoting this for quite a while, and now and don't get me wrong, I know there's censorship out there and other things, but we're not being censored. We're just, they didn't hit the brakes, they just took the foot off the gas.
No, it's a good distraction.
What?
It's a good distraction.
What? To?
Well, it may be correct, but it is still a very good distraction.
I think it might be more than that, though. I think that I've said this in different things, I put it in the book, I think that flat Earth is framed for something else. that's coming. Meaning flat Earth opens your mind up to everything, right? Flat Earth is the ultimate open-minded thing. Literally every conspiracy guy I've ever run into, once they get into flat Earth, they're open to everything. So what is the canvas? A flat Earth is the frame, the necessary frame for, it's basically introduced the population to some new thing that's coming. Or the boxing reference, flat Earth is the left jab for the big right cross. The question is, what's bigger than that?
I have to say that I don't agree that we've been helped, so. Because what you just described of what they would do is exactly what they're doing, right? They started with, they are methodical in the way they do things. So they started with ridicule, yeah? That usually works. Ridicule, I understand, usually works. It's enough to stop people. But that didn't stop people. Everything that's happened, you know, with the flat Earth has happened because of people. You know? True. People have just got together and their passion about it has been pushing this forward. Right. But you can imagine they've sat around in rooms thinking, how are we going to stop this? Right. You know, ridicule hasn't worked. Yeah? So now they've started with the absolute censorship. Yeah? As I said, you can't go to a flat Earth video, even if you type in the full name of the video, you know, it comes in like 3 pages down.
Yeah, the search engines haven't changed drastically.
You know how you go to YouTube and, you know, the recommended list that comes up? Yeah. You know, you recognize yourself in the recommended list. Yeah. Now I go to YouTube, right? There's all sorts of crap in there that you know, I'm going to watch this. Yeah. Before it was like almost on point. Yeah. Yeah. But now I go in there and I don't recognize it. Right. Because it's censorship.
Well, we've had the what was the picture? Was it Tom Whistleblower? Who said there are whitelists that they just screen all the things that might be anti-establishment view. Yes.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
So, I downloaded Flat Earth Clues on Audible, and I've probably listened to it more times than I could even.
Yeah, don't do that.
I drive a lot for work, so. But one of the things that really stood out for me was Richard Bird in the interview. And, you know, the fact that he said how, you know, kind of there's all this land mass.
Big planet, yeah.
I suppose my question to you is, with the ice wall, what do you actually think is being planned?
There's probably people with a whole bunch of opinions on that. I don't know. You know, the question is, you know, and by the way, I don't ever use the ice wall term. That one drives me nuts because people just refer to it as Game of Thrones. The Antarctic coastline, yes, starts off as an ice wall, but most of Antarctica, even if you believe what science says, is a plateau of, you know, 14,000 feet. What's beyond it? I would like to think, you know, the edge, you know, the actual edge of our world. Do I think there's lands beyond it? Yes. Do I think we can go there? I'm skeptical. Right. I think they're trying though. If I was the powers that be, that's what I'd want to do. If I had a map and said, oh yeah, by the way, outside of your world, there's more things, more continents, like a 1,000-year-old map from Asia. You know, that had these wonderful series of continents all around it. I love that idea. If I was the government, I would try to do that every single day using, I don't know, atomic weapons, arcs, CERN.
One's not really a question, but it's in regards to climate change, how far away science and obviously yours. I think with us, if we don't know, we're not afraid to say, actually, I don't know the answer. NASA always wants to say, we know it's, and they'll just give you an answer that might be incorrect, well, that is incorrect, and then we prove that it's incorrect. But with us, we're not afraid to say we don't know, but that's not to say we're not going to try and find out.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, that is one of my pains of science, watching them, and that is science gets to a stage and they say, that's it, which is why I brought the fish. It's like, you know, they say, that's it, there is no, you know, we got the evidence, case closed, RIP, and they stop looking for answers, they stop looking for truth.
No, Philip or anybody else for the documentary principle.
Say close.
I don't know if yourself or anybody saw the documentary, The Principle.
Oh yeah, I watched The Principle. Fascinating.
amazing statement in there, because detracting from flat Earth, they focus on the heliocentric model and its history, moving on. They actually made a statement that these are the world's top scientists, including that Japanese one.
Yeah.
And they said, in reality, the only way you could ever know what was happening is if you were outside the solar system looking in. So any planet you are on right now as a human being, you could say the same thing, that one is revolving, or that one is revolving. In actual fact, you don't know unless you're outside. And that's from the mouths of babies, from their own statement.
Yeah, interesting. And by the way, the guy who created Principle contacted me at one point, and we got into it a little bit because he thought, because the movie came out just about the same time that Flat Earth was ramping up, and man, he thought it was deliberate. You know, he thought we were putting, you know, the system to submarine his project. I was like, really? So, it was just a coincidence. But I enjoyed the movie. It's still out there. It does well. In fact, we probably gave it more, you know, helped it when it heard.
I debated Richard Robert Sargent.
And how did it go?
But I debated him. It was 3 o'clock in the morning for me when we started, and I was tired, so I literally was on the defensive all the time. But if I had been awake, I would have asked him about his model.
Sure.
His model is that, you know, we're motionless in the center of the universe, and everything spins around us.
Right.
But he still believes in the Big Bang.
Yeah, it's weird.
Which means if we're in the center and the Big Bang is expanding out from the center,
yeah,
this is where the Big Bang happened. So why are we here?
Yeah. Sorry, to fill people in, the principle basically states that the Earth is the center of the universe, but there still is a universe. So the creation started here, and the universe was built, and all the quantum physics points that we are ground zero. Which is interesting, and I told him, look, we're not that far off. You say we're the center of everything, and I said, yeah, we're the center of everything. You just say it's much, much bigger. All right.
They also say it's a wall, isn't it?
Yes, he does. He actually, well, he has to. If he's going to go the true geocentric thing, yeah, he's got to say it's a wall. But yeah, he exists.
Speaking of debates, Mark, you had a challenge for, was it a year, 2 years of universities to fly you and do a debate? Did anyone take up the challenge?
The only, well, I've got 2 challenges out there. One, of course, I'll probably end up martyring myself for, which is the vacuum test. I so hate the spacesuit that I'm willing to grab a NASA spacesuit and go into a vacuum chamber and have them, pull the switch, just to prove my point. And of course, I don't think that's a great idea.
We'll bury you on.
And say, please remember me when that happens. But the only debate, and how much time I have?
We've got loads of time.
Okay. The only debate, I won't try this out. The only debate that I got close to was there's a German television team called ZF1, and they contacted an astrophysicist out of Georgetown, and they didn't want us talking over each other, so they were going to record questions from me and then play it back from him and play, record his response, so we go back and forth. So we never leave. And I thought that was fair because physicists are usually really, really dry, monosyllable. It's like, yes, the world is round. That's all they said. So they asked me to come up with 5 questions, and so I did the long distance photography. That was my first one. How does that work? Gravity versus vacuum space, which you guys have all seen many, many times. I love the rail car, for example. The rail car is great. The eclipse shadow, I think, is too small, 2,000-mile moon, but the blackout zone is only 70 miles wide. You don't see the opposite of the Earth. The 4th is the moon temperature. Does everybody here know the moon temperature thing? Nod? Yes. The moon temperature thing, which is moonlight is cold. It's a cold laser light. And it's actually warmer in the moon's shade than moonlight, which is the exact opposite of the sun, which most scientists just freak out when they hear it. And last but not least, the Van Allen radiation belt trap question, which is, are the Van Allen radiation belts deadly? Yes or no? If they are deadly, then how do the astronauts, how the Americans do round trips to the moon and back? Nobody died, nobody got radiation poisoning, nobody got cancer, we still fly out and walking around today. If you say yes or no, they're not deadly, then why does NASA still have that trial by fire video on their website, which says that, oh yeah, we can't even test humans in capsules because we haven't solved the radiation problem yet. And so I gave those 5 questions, recorded them, the Germans sent them off to him, and the guy folded like a card table. That was it. He said, oh, nice. And that was it. The second day later, the Germans were angry and they went home, and that was the closest I ever got. With the exception of astronauts, I did Good Morning Britain.
Yeah, so none of the universities flew you in, took you up on the challenge?
No, that doesn't mean it won't happen.
Yeah.
Okay,
well. Very good. Oh, yeah, 2 more questions. Right. I'll come to you first.
Why is gravity always the answer?
What is gravity?
Why is gravity always the answer?
Oh, why is gravity always the answer? Because, it's the crux of everything. It is their magic glue to where it's their hero. They have nothing else to go to, which again is fascinating because every scientist will tell you, and you can quote me on this, is that they don't know what gravity is, they can only tell you what it does. They can only tell you its side effects, its symptoms. So, because it's this magical molecular force, they kind of use it as the cure-all. The new cure-all that they're working on, but nobody's going to get it, because it's way hard to explain, it's like dark matter. The universe is like, okay, dark matter, that's the answer to every problem we've got. But yeah, gravity is just their go-to thing, right? That is it. They don't have any reason for it, only that it's so old in the world of science and scientism that that's all they can go with.
I refer to that because the gaseous pressure that we breathe,
yeah,
and your container sort of reasoning of the model that we live on. You need a gaseous, you need a container to keep that gas in.
Yes, absolutely.
So the vacuum of space, it just doesn't work with a gas container.
No, I got it.
The second law of thermodynamics, it won't allow it.
Absolutely. So I have a thing I came up with this year, and some of you probably heard me say it, which is, and you use this on anybody, it usually stops them dead cold in the tracks when it comes to gravity versus the vacuum of space, which is, you make it much, much smaller. So I say, okay, the second floor of this room, we turn into a vacuum chamber, we put a cork in the ceiling, and we pop that cork. What happens? Well, obviously, it's going to turn into like that rail car syndrome. It's going to be instant, it's going to be violent. By the way, the movies absolutely do not do it justice. You get a hole in a spacecraft, and it's like, oh my God, we only got 30 seconds of oxygen left. Put on your stuff and get some duct tape. It's instant. It's absolutely instant. Not just the air in the room, the air in your lungs. So you pop the cork in the ceiling, and everything equalizes instantly, right? And they say, so what? And I say, why didn't gravity keep all the air in here? And that's they're like, they literally have nothing. They have no response. And the ones that get it, they go, okay, explain to me how the vacuum of space, which is way bigger and way stronger, how the atmosphere is still here. And I say, container is the only answer.
Yeah. So, Mark, did you ever do the keynote speech at that university?
At Georgetown? Oh, you mean Indiana University?
No,
we're not recording that, are we? I'm not supposed to say that. Yes, I was asked to do a commencement address at a university, but I warned, and students, ever since the documentary, I've had a lot of younger people, because I'm older, younger people ask me to talk at different schools, but unfortunately they want to try to slide me in without telling the administration. So I said, look, I'd love to speak and do things at a university, but you have to tell the faculty. You can't just walk me in there, because if I go to stage, the next thing you know, a big wooden hook is going to come, and I'm going to be dodging it the entire time. So, but no, yes.
Hello, Mark. Oh,
yeah.
Something about surprise.
That's right.
We were speculating earlier on whether awareness of flat Earth has been allowed to seep out into culture.
Right.
Through the research that I've done into the entertainment industry,
yeah.
I've come across this tenet within Freemasonry and other occult groups of placing the truth in plain sight, revelation. Where they will lie blatantly to your face, but they'll encode the truth about something into popular culture for those with the eyes to see, to recognize it. So as they see things, they've been giving you the opportunity to know. So it makes me wonder whether celebrities like these sports stars and B.O.B. and people like that are being allowed to talk about this stuff so that they can make the claim that we weren't given the opportunity to know. And maybe this would explain why awareness has been allowed to get out there over the last 4 or 5 years.
Most of what I've seen recently is the celebrities that are in it, and there are a bunch of celebrities. In fact, I talk about the book, and I'm not going to out some of you guys know. You can ask me about them. Which is there are celebrities out there that know about this, but they're really nervous because of peer pressure. They saw what happened, and I don't know what happened to Freddie Flintoff here. I hear he gets picked on a lot anyway. But when Kyrie Irving came out in the United States, there were a lot of people, the media really descended on him, and there's a lot of celebrities that are nervous because of him. But most of it's peer pressure. Most people that get into it, I don't think they're being allowed as much as, like Kyrie got into it because he was in the middle between two agents, and he just won his title, so he had nothing to lose. He's like, oh, I'm 25 years old, I'm rich, I can talk about flat Earth, what's the worst that could happen? And then he found out. When it comes to everybody else, though, and I want to stress this to everybody, is that flat Earth is the most interesting topic out there. I've talked to, everything from homeless people to corporate A-listers, and this gets into just about everything. It doesn't matter how rich, how powerful, how beautiful, how talented you are. Flat Earth gets into every demographic you can think of. Because, and I think of this way, I'll do it really quick, which is when you get a conversation with somebody, you usually talk about the weather first, and sports teams, and then people you know, and maybe some gossip. But usually before the conversation ends, it comes down to some sort of interesting story you exchange. It's like some little interesting fact. And flat Earth is now the trump card, for lack of a better term, for that. Meaning flat Earth is the thing you throw out. It's like, oh, you think that's interesting? And that's what happened. I'll tell it really quick because I don't mind. I'm not outing her. The A actress in the United States, Amy Adams, she was at the Oscars, and there was a bunch of people talking about conspiracies, and she comes in the room and just tries to destroy us. She comes in and she had so much passion that she was saying, no, let me tell you what my father's into, and just lays into flat Earth. And that passion, doesn't matter if you're for it or against it, people respond to it. And so she was converting people in the room by hating it. Because people, what you think they're going to do is, why does she hate flat Earth so much? And they did. And then some of those people contacted me. And so, again, it was something a producer told me. It doesn't matter whether you love a topic or you hate a topic, as long as you're engaged in it, which also works to our advantage. There's a lot of people that hate flat Earth, and it does nothing but help. Yes?
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Hi. So out of all of your content that you've made, I particularly enjoyed your subject matter expert interviews.
Thank you.
And so I just wanted to ask what's the best information that, say, one of them's ever given you, like the vacuum and seals guys. I thought it was amazing.
The subject matter experts. And that's a list, this is a playlist on my channel with all these guys. You can listen to the interviews. Most of them are really, really great. And they were all completely unsolicited. My favorites, of course, was the very first one. That was Sean McCrary, United States Sparrow Whistle instructor. Because not only did he come out and say his name, but to prove the point, he actually videoed himself flying through his ship out when he was being deployed, and in the Sparrow Missile System room, the training room, which I don't even think was legal, but nobody nailed it for it. The industrial vacuum expert guys, both of them, the clean room guy and the industrial supplies guy, that dealt with, there's only like 5 companies in the world that deal with those sort of high-end seals. They were the ones that kind of gave us a whole new look on physics, which is that the ISS is impossible. The ISS cannot do what it does with aluminum and plastic. He said, look, the submarines are built that way for a reason. Heavy steel doors that are sealed every time to make sure nothing horrible happens. Those were the 2 big ones that I really, really loved. I mean, all of them were fun, but that and the electronic, we get a chance to listen, I won't spread about the electronic warfare technician from the Navy, who said that on some days the atmosphere clears up like a calm lake, and you can see stuff that's way, way out in the distance, far beyond radar range, because it's far beyond the curve.
Thanks. One of my favourites is the plane surveyor. He has such a great sense of humour and laugh.
The who?
He's the plane surveyor.
Oh, yeah. Good old boy.
Explain the scenario, and I'll tell everyone why I thought it was
Okay,
fun.
so most people don't know that surveyors that survey things for like airports and homes, you have a surveyor come out and like check to make sure the land is level. And 99% of the surveyors in the world are planar surveyors. And literally how it sounds, P-L-A-N-A-R, meaning plane. They literally treat their projects like the world is absolutely flat. And they said the diagrams. In fact, all the senior surveyors tell rookies that you treat your project like the world is flat. And then eventually some rookie or freshman says, well, what don't we have to account for curve? And they all say the same, it's like, nah, don't worry about it. You'll never run into it, which if you think about it, it's impossible because you have, think about it like a cracker, right? So your cracker in the center, that's your project. Well, you have things lighting up, north, south, east, west, southwest, northeast, and so on. And all these projects have to interlock with each other perfectly. Well, somebody should have made a mistake at some point with the curve, and they never do. And we're not talking about just, your home or a space the size of this room. We're talking about car manufacturing plants, things that are 10 and 20 miles square. And they take care of almost all those plot points. So.
And the thing that makes it funny is he said, yeah, the coach is there, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The boss is just, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you'll never ever run into it. And just about every subject matter says the same thing. They all said, and not just the list I rattled off, but everything on the channel. They all said, oh yeah, we've heard about the curvature here, and we've heard about the spinning of it, but we never use the calculations. No firing system. I challenge anybody. There is a firing system, and any sniper that says they shoot at a mile and deal with the curve, they're being pushed by the media, because I talked to guys that shoot howitzers, that shoot tanks, that shoot missiles, that shoot torpedoes, and they said not at any time during the firing solution do we take into account the curvature here and the spinning. And I know you guys they're not a big gun culture, but like on scopes, there's only two knobs on a scope, windage and elevation. There's no curvature, thing.
That would be a pretty sophisticated scope, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And you had a KLM pilot as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, the KLM pilot. I felt really bad for her. She's a female KLM pilot that called me, I think, about 18 months ago, and she said that she was absolutely a believer, and just to make the point, she went in for her physical, and she told the corporate doctors that she was a flat earther. And they immediately said, sorry, we can't let you fly until you renounce that. And I'm like, ooh, that's harsh. And so she didn't renounce it. She stuck to her guns. Now, it's tough to get fired, apparently, at KLM, so they put her on a desk job, but they would not reinstate her. So, I don't know if she's flying instead.
Tough times, yeah.
She has spoke.
She spoke, so yeah. She's not fine anymore.
Yeah. I feel bad, but at the same time, look, she's stuck to her guns. Same thing with me, though. I mean, I tell people, look, if you prove me to blow, I'll quit. Sure. But you're not going to, and until then, I'm willing to die for flat Earth at this stage.
How large is the flat Earth?
Wide?
What square mileage would it be?
Oh, good Lord, I don't know. Someone else, I'll have something to look up. It's big, though. Very, very big. I don't know, I think the width, even without the Antarctic coastline, is something like 22,000 miles long. Okay.
Just getting back to the point you made, do you think the pilots know about?
No. Okay. They suspect. You're absolutely right. In fact, that's a great point, because there's an overarching theme here, which is there's all sorts. You'll run into people that say it's too big a secret, and every scientist, and every physicist, and every pilot, and all these people would have to know. It's like, no, they wouldn't. Now, pilots out of all of them suspect more than most. I talked to a whole bunch of pilots, and they all said, yeah, it's different when you're sitting in a plane, you look out the window, you don't see that much. But if you're in the pilot, you have a wonderful 180 panorama.
It's the gyroscope, isn't it? It's all the gyroscope, all of the machines. So if you're flying a plane or if you're in a submarine, you're doing it on a straight line basis, because that's all you can go off.
Every pilot that I talked to suspected, always suspected, but then again, think about this, you're a pilot, I talked about this in the close, which is, if you're a pilot and you suspect that the Earth is flat, you shut up. You don't tell anybody.
Hotel says that they chat candidly amongst each other, but there's nothing else there.
It's this weird paradox where they look and they go, yeah, it looks absolutely flat, but in the back of their head, but it's a globe, right? And so they have this weird wrestling, and so how they get through it on a day-to-day is because, pilots, their job, it's like, look, if we just get from point A to point B, everything's fine, nobody dies, that's great. And then, they just rinse and repeat. So.
And then training manuals even say flat and non-rotated, and
Yes, some of the Defense Department manuals, yes, you're absolutely right. Those are well circulated. Thank you for bringing that up.
And there is no manual for a spinning globe, right? There is no manual to fly over a spinning
Right.
ball.
Right.
That manual doesn't exist.
Which is, yeah, the verbiage they use was very, very clear. Very, flat, stationary, non-rotating Earth.
Yes.
Sorry.
So like, all the major investors for weapon systems, line of sight weapon systems, especially Sparrowhawk it's they wouldn't waste millions on developing a weapon system that could be sold worldwide if it doesn't work on line of sight. So it's a range of 35 miles. The curvature will get in the way, so of that range, and it wouldn't work.
Right. And weapon systems, when they build, like for example, the one that's probably people have heard of is the railgun the United States came up with, was just a really, really fast cannon that fires non-guided things really, really straight. They said they can hit targets at, I don't know, 100, 120 miles or so. But the curvature is, it's like you're shooting at something that should be absolutely on the other side of the hill, and they never explained it. And for when it comes to weapons, people, if it works, they don't care. They're just like, oh, whatever. Did it hit the target? Great. We're not gonna make anybody do anything else. What?
We've got something we'd like to say to you on behalf of us both and the Global Light Tour and everyone who's taken part in this so far.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. You were an inspiration for us, like we thought, we'd never get you out there doing some activism with us, and pulling my bazooka. You really stepped up, and we're very, very grateful for that.
Thank you. It was, by the way, it was really fun. If you guys didn't catch it, I did get a chance to do my first real hardcore street activism, and I was so blessed that you picked Belfast and Dublin and Cardiff as my target. So it was awesome. I had so much fun.
You did. Yes. Thank you very much.
I'm just going to rush to my computer and play a little clip, which was someone was a bit starstruck in Belfast.
Oh no, not the leprechaun. Oh no. Oh, right.
This Friday night was really good, guys. Not everyone thought of this, but we had all sorts of clips. And one of my favourite of all was this one. One of my favourite of all was this one. So. Oh,
Oi, Josh.
Is that normal for Belfast?
What was that? It looked like
He was so tiny, and like when he jumped up on me, he literally jumped up on me and he hooked his legs around my knees. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was so much fun. But anyway, one more. Oh, don't say that. I hate PJs. So it's not playing. Okay, well, even if it doesn't play, it's alright. You kind of get it. Oh God. Yeah, that was the biggest set of golf clubs ever.
Isn't he a great sport? Mark Sargent, thank you very much. I think it's a moment to Gary, if you wouldn't mind coming up. Are you ready to do your own bit? Thank you very much.
Hi everyone. I'll try to get you a distance from the microphone. There's 8 points I want to bring up. Robin has kindly given me the time, and obviously I'm conscious of 1 o'clock, because if you have a choice between listening to me or lunch, I know that I can come in 4 seconds. Are you ready to run the video? This is to do with the convention that's taking place in 2 weeks' time, and I know there's some people in here, so I think it's
between yesterday and today, I think there's 11 people that are actually from here that are going. It'd be great if any more of you would like to come along, but I appreciate that being here today and yesterday, it's not easy to get across the water and actually take part in another convention, but you win you are. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much. That was put together between Edie and Irilan Ducci. I don't know if you, some of you have met him in Birmingham last year. I want to say thank you to Robin for everything he's done in the last few days, and Charlotte, and Robin, and Jason, and Roxanne. Because even though this is mainly Robin and Charlotte, there's a hell of a lot of work that goes into this. And I was at Denver last year with Robin, and I said the same thing up on stage, that no disrespect to you guys, you just have no idea how much work this takes to put this together. So I'd like to say thank you to you. The other thing is, I'm not sure if Robin's going to do a convention next year, but one of the things you need is no hair. So if you look at us, you can see that if there's a few of you with really long hair, you've got no chance. But if you've got short hair and you want to put your name forward, yeah, Dave would definitely be one. Mark Devlin maybe. Talk about Mark Devlin, make sure you have a look at his books about the music industry. I bought one, but have a look at that. Okay, there's a few things I'd like to pick up, so if Robin's given me the okay, it's great. I feel very fortunate because the very first video I came across was actually Mark Sargent's Clues, and I got it straight away. And one of the questions I want to ask is why? Why did I get it? Because I didn't need 10 seconds to actually think about it. It was immediate. The very first person I met was Dave. And the very first person that I fell in love with on the internet, that's the right thing to say, is Jeremy. I'm seeing him in 2 weeks' time. So I feel very fortunate. The other thing is, I've actually worked it out over the last few weeks. I've met thousands of Earthers. That's going to Denver, that's going to Birmingham, it's here, it's going to some of the meetups that have taken place. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel very privileged. And I want to say thank you to you guys that I've actually spent time with you yesterday, I spent time with some of you before, and that's a really, really powerful thing because there's so much negativity in Earth, and we get attacked. And I've been attacked. I know Mark has been attacked. He's been called a shield, he's been called an agent. You can see how much passion he's put into this. You can see how Dave is a fantastic guy. He puts in a lot of effort. You've got Adam Meekin from RML Media, who's doing a great job. Roxanne, Jason. The amount of passion that goes into this, but all we get is attack. It's a real shame. But anyway. I just want to talk a little bit. Even though this is only meant to be about the convention, I've just got a few things I want to say. If you look at the global warming, this gentleman pulled up. If you look at ice and you put it in a bottle and you freeze it, it expands. So thinking of that, I went on to do some research and found that the ice actually increases by about 9%. Now, if you think that 9% and 10% are very close, we're told that most of the ice is, North and South Pole is below water, and 10% is above. So if you take 10% of ice as expansion, that means if it melts, it will then shrink by 10%. Which means that the only ice that you're going to get that's actually going to cause any issues with sea levels rising is on the Everest and all the different pieces and all the different things. So that means that the ice that is apparently melting that's going to cause us a big problem doesn't exist. It's going to be neutral. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll say afterwards if you've got any questions, but I'm not saying I've got this from anywhere, it's just something that's wrapped around my head. ITV, after the convention last year, I got invited onto ITV this morning with Frisco Field and Holly, and it was a very interesting thing. Since then, they've actually invited me on for there 4 times. 2 times just to talk about the moon hoax. Once just to talk about is Australia really there? I don't care. I don't know. But there was another time where they were really, really keen to get me on there. They've also tried to get Dave on, but it hasn't quite worked out. It's something I'm really working on. But they said to me, we want you to come on to ITV. I said, do what? And they said, we want you to come on and talk about it. I said, if I don't actually have a reason, I don't see the point. But I said, if I can ask you a question, could you get hold of Brian Cox and get him to come on, and we'll get Dr. John Dr. John, sorry, and get Dave there, and we'll debate him. I want you to actually have a guess. What was his reply?
Yes.
If only I'll use the word, he's flatly refused. I think he's chicken shit, basically. Yeah, that's it. Oh, just a couple of things. The last thing I want to say is the banana belt. We actually say that we can't go through space because of banana belts, but we're actually told that from the same scientists that tell us other things. So we have to be careful that we're not selective in what we believe. If you think about Neil deGrasse Tyson, he says all this stuff that we actually disagree with. And then he says one thing that we like, which is you're only 2 minutes off the globe and you can't see the curvature. But that's, I'm not trying to knock it, I'm just saying it's very convenient for us to latch onto that same level. We'll actually want to, we're saying the banana belts, radiation. But how do we know? We're only told what we're told. But anyway, thanks so much for your time. I do appreciate it, and I hope to see some of you in Amsterdam in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, everyone. What we'll do just before 1 o'clock, if you want to get a picture with Dave Murphy, Martin, or Mark, who's still here, or Paul and Dave, please come to the front. We'll do a quick photo shoot. A couple of guys missed that yesterday. Do you mind switching on the lights, please, Dave, at this end?
Okay, guys, I'm gonna call it a day there before we go for lunch. So that was fun, and I'll come back again after lunch. We've got Dave Marsh. We'll do some Mooney stuff, I should think. So see you all later, guys. Take it easy.